Welcome back to Newsday. Thank you for staying with us. Ahead of the expected rollout of his ministerial list, President Bola Tinubu on Thursday appointed a team of 8 special advisors. Those appointments brought another action-packed day at the presidential villa to a conclusion and continues to underscore the president's apparent desire to hit the ground running. At the last count, he'd fired a number of heads of agencies as part of what some political analysts say could be the start of a more comprehensive clear-out. But is there a method to what some might call his madness? Do these changes say anything about the Tinubu administration's policy direction? And what kind of cabinet should Nigerians expect from their president? Well, Oyalowo is an economist and development expert. He joins us now from our Abuja studio. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Newsday.
Cynthia, good afternoon for having me.
Thank you so much. Well, of course, we know that this list for the ministerial nominees will be submitted to the 10th National Assembly for scrutiny in just a matter of weeks. I'm wondering what aspects you deem non-negotiables when it comes to the character of those who will constitute this cabinet.
Well, some areas are very critical, while some areas are, every area is critical, but you know there are places where you cannot joke. Especially when it comes to the economy. We have seen some of the positive movement in our economy in the last couple of days. We've seen how the stock market has roared back. We've seen the very huge gains that we have made. We have seen that he claimed, he promised from the day before he even came to office that he was going to remove the corruption-laden foreign exchange system, and we have seen what has happened. I heard the people in your studio earlier talking about how do you close the gap more faster and all those things. You cannot have an exact amount, even when we didn't have this corrupt system of 450 to 750 in the black market. We've always had a difference of 1 naira, 2 naira, which is not too much, even up to 3, 4 naira. But what we had initially before now was such a dichotomy that should never have happened in the first instance. So we have seen how the economy have picked up, but areas that I think when it comes to the ministerial list must be filled with correct pegs in the correct holes are one, the Minister for Finance, Budget, and anything that has to do with the economy. And the other aspect that we cannot joke with is the area of security. So we'll be looking at the Interior Ministry, the Ministry of Defense, and so on and so forth. So those two areas are very critical because you must be well secured so you can have a proper economy. And if you don't have a good economy, you will not create jobs, you will not reduce unemployment, you will not treat your people well. And then agriculture and energy area in terms of his plan for gas and oil sector, those areas must be manned by experts who are vast in that industry or aspect of life in terms of security, economy, gas, and agriculture. We must have people who are clearly up to the task so that we can have a proper moving forward. We have seen what he has done in the past few days. Everybody has commended him. In fact, the former head of state, Abdul Salami, said he's so proud of him. He didn't have to hide to come and see him. He came to see him boldly in the afternoon. It tells you maybe some people who used to do nocturnal Nicodemus kind of visits before. So we are happy that he's doing this, and we hope that he will do better, continue to make our expectation, raise our expectation, because the more you do, like there's this saying that says the result or the reward for hard work is more hard work.
All right, Ayobami, first, may I have 2 quick questions? Number 1 has to be the fact that, do you think Tinubu will ply the path of President Muhammadu Buhari by maybe appointing himself in any critical position ministerially, like Tinubu did? Like Buhari did as a Minister of Petroleum. Talk to us. Did you think that particular strategy worked? And number two, the president has also spoken about the fact that...
I'm not a psychic.
Okay, the president also spoke about the fact that he wants to trim the fat. Talks about having senior ministers, junior ministers, might be a thing of the past. Talk to us about this.
Oh, yeah, you see, first and foremost, I cannot answer the first question correctly. Whatever I tell you now will be nothing but a guesswork, because only President Tinubu knows what President Tinubu is thinking. Maybe he wants to man a critical side of the economy, like we had the former president as the Minister of Petroleum. I am hoping he will not do that, for a simple fact that he needs to oversee everybody. So I'd rather he had someone there that he can oversee what the person is doing, rather than he be the one running it and he will not be able to give it his full attention. I think by appointing a special advisor on energy, that has taken away that argument that he will need to be in charge of petroleum sector, for instance, to be the Minister of Petrol. I think that will not happen this time. I think President Tinubu will allow someone who is knowledgeable in that area, and then he already has a special advisor who people say is good. I don't know much about her, but from what they say she knows what she's doing. She's good in that area. So hopefully that person will be his eyes and ears in that ministry, and then he will have a minister who will be able to run the ministry without encumbrance, without him running the ministry and not being able to give his full attention to it like we had before. And then we all know the challenges we had with the ministry. And then talking about Minister of State and Senior Minister, I've never been a minister, so I cannot really say, but from what my friend and my brother, Festus Keyamo San, said after he left office, I think that office of the Minister of State is really irrelevant, because it's a duplicity that doesn't work. You find out that when you have two ministers running one ministry, the honors normally fell on the senior minister, and the junior minister is usually left redundant. So I'd rather we don't have it. I'd rather we have only ministers who can be accountable for their actions in office.
Duly noted. Now, there are some analysts that say that the president is going to have a bit of a challenge in his hands. He stated that this is going to be a cabinet based on competence, but the challenge comes in the dilemma that they're predicting will emerge when he is making a selection, between politicians who supported him but do not have the level of competence that he needs, and technocrats who are very competent but were not involved in his campaign and election. Do you expect to see a relatively balancing act from the part of the president when it comes to this?
Quickly, thank God you said something while you were asking the question. You say politicians who are not very competent. If you are not competent, you shouldn't even think of getting an office in that area. And then we always have this dichotomy of thinking politicians are not competent. Some people, we just name them technocrat. And I ask the question, who is a technocrat? Many of us are educated. Most of the politicians that we are looking at, let me give an example of maybe one of them. Okay, let me not give an example. Okay, I can give one. Former Minister Fashola, he's a lawyer. He's a brilliant man. He's a son. Because he's a politician, does that remove his intelligence? Does that make him not intelligent because he's a politician? And then we think somebody who says a technocrat and then bring all manner of certificate that has not used in any reasonable industry suddenly think he's a technocrat. I don't really see that technocrat politician thing. What I see is every Nigerian who is good enough can do the job. Somebody referred to me last week as a politician, and then I smiled. Was it last week or early this week? And I smiled. And then I now asked the person, so where do I fall in? Am I a politician or a technocrat? We cannot answer the question. I'm currently running for my PhD in the area of development economy. So does that make me not competent because I'm a politician? I don't think we should begin to throw out this word. What President Tinubu said before he took office, I remember his acceptance speech, he said he was going to run a government of national competence. National in the sense that everybody will be, every aspect of Nigeria, every region, every tribe, every religion will be involved. So which means if we are looking, for instance, for a Minister of Finance, we should be looking at someone who has experience in economy, micro and macroeconomics, someone who has experience in finance at least 10, 20, 15 years. So we are looking at that. Then if the person happens to have held a political office before, does that make him not competent? I don't think so. So I think we should be looking at people who can deliver. And if we know the track record of this man, I always use this example. I remember during the campaign, I sat here too, and I said, look, President Tinubu then as a governor was the only governor in his set who bucked the trend. And what was that trend? He brought in people from Edo State, people from Delta State, people from Anambra State, who were non-Yoruba speakers, to be in his cabinet in a Yoruba state. So it tells you clearly that President Tinubu will always prioritize competence over any other consideration. So we must, let me not say we must, but I think we should be satisfied as what he has done in the past, and with the kind of caliber of people he has selected as his advisors, it tells you clearly that he will be looking at competence. And I can assure Nigerians that from his antecedent, because you always use the past to judge what will happen in the future, from President Tinubu's antecedent, we can clearly and unequivocally say he will have a cabinet full of people who knows their jobs. And for the first time, we might even be having direct KPIs handed over to ministers as they are taking their portfolio. These are your deliverables. We know in the past people just take office, there are no deliverables. If you like, do. If you like, don't do. In fact, there are some people, they will just tell you this one was a minister, and you ask yourself which administration, which ministry, you can't remember because they were completely non-relevant. So we are going to have a ministry, a cabinet that is full of people that will be relevant because they will be good for the job, they will deliver, and they will likely going to have their KPIs handed over to them, so that there are deliverables that you must deliver as a minister. There should be, when I was in the banking industry, every 6 months you have what you call an appraisal system, and that appraisal system will appraise what you have done in the last 6 months. Then by the end of the year, we have another one, which is the annual appraiser. So that now say whether you'll be promoted or you will remain on the same level or you will even be sacked. So those are the things that we expect to see, and I hope President Tinubu is listening and will be doing that.
Permit me, because of time, one thing that is very conversant in the political sphere is horse trading. And what you're saying might be right academically, but what is on ground, what we've seen as antecedents over the years, is that we see that people that have actually worked in campaigns are expected to be rewarded with ministerial positions, with ambassadorial positions, as against putting people that can help lift that particular sector. Case in point, I am yet to see, since 1999, I'm yet to see a proper technocrat being appointed as a minister of sports or youth and sports in Nigeria. It's always a mismatch, completely. That has not changed since 1999. APC, PDP, regardless.
I was a technocrat in sport. Maybe you can help me because I've never seen
people that have at least an understanding of what it takes to pilot youth and sports affairs. We see people that are completely off the tangent.
Dare acquitted himself. I thought Sunday Dare was an exception. I thought Sunday Dare,
you do not want us to start here
what he
today.
did in the past. I think he was a good minister of sport.
You do not want us to start here. So I must say. So
no, you are the one who used sport as an example.
Yes.
And I was telling you my own knowledge of Sunday Dare as a minister of sport.
The last I checked, Sunday Dare came from the National Communication Commission. As an executive director to become a minister of sports.
He was a reporter and a journalist. He was a journalist.
A journalist and a reporter. Was he a sports journalist?
Maybe we should go and hire Moriho-esque. Should we hire a Moriho-esque person? We have had former footballers run our Super Eagles and they have failed. So at times, you don't necessarily have to be in that area to be a technocrat in the area. All you need to be is to be a good administrator who knows how to administer people, and then you will succeed. That's my thinking.
Well, let's see how things play out when these appointments roll out. Ayobami Oyalowo, economist.
Well, let's not before I finish. Let's not look at just sports. Let's not look at just sport. I think
this might have to be another conversation, but
economy,
Mr. Oyalowo, economist and development expert, we'd like to say a big thank you for your time, and we wish you well. Thank you.